think the third time. So, well, to make it short at the start, well, we are two people again, but we have still the same name because I was too lazy to change it, and I hope we get three people again because of the mentioned reasons like better dynamic and stuff. So yeah, we're hoping for the best. Also, like during the last times, we don't really have we have some topics to fall back maybe, but we will just openly talk again. And yeah, so let's see. I'm already missing 20% of frames, so this is a really awesome start. So
Nice.
this time it's chaos with technically a mess. Let's see how this goes. So, welcome, Brigand. I will just ignore OBS telling me I'm losing one fourth of my frames for now, and hope that it will get better. Cause yeah, what can we do? So, how was your week? Do you have anything that you want to mention, or just how in general? How was it? Was it productive? Were you being at home? Have you been working from home? Have there been protests around your door? Whatever you want to tell.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, job's been slow. I'm thankful I have a job because a lot of people here have lost theirs. Um, it's been slow, but it's been steady, and I might have to look for a second job at some point, but not right now.
Oh,
I mean, like to help out, and
yeah.
like it's. I mean, I guess personally, I'm doing okay. Not really too productive. I mean, I know a lot of people who have like, started trying to like cook or bake or exercise more, and I would like to do that, but it's just, man, I need to keep on top of the news just to make sure if there's I think we as a society just need to be informed, like just what's going on, and it's just the information that we're getting is really like it's really saddening and depressing, just because I, I I guess we don't mind, if we're given this challenge like a pandemic or depression or whatever. It's just like we want to hear that like there's a plan to get better, and it's
Yeah.
just like this whole time there's been no plan. At least here in the US there's no like actual solid plan. I mean, I you can't really put a timetable to it, but like there seems like there's no goal and there's no like progress, and because of that it just seems like it's gonna just last forever. And I was watching a short interview with a doctor. I forgot who and like what his title was, but he's like kind of an expert in in contagious diseases, and he was saying, and this was an interview from 3 months ago, and he was saying like based on their information from 3 months ago, like this was going to last another year and a half, and it's just like hard to keep positive when it's going to last this long and it's been this bad, and there's still people fighting against it and not like doing what they should be doing. And so because of that, it's like I've not been like great and cheerful, and because of that, like it's hard to actually get up and go.
Yeah, to keep positive and to bake like the other people.
Yeah, yeah, and cook and go exercise and like try to like stay up, but it's easy to get dragged down with just nothing but bad news day in and day out. And so I'm still
Yeah.
here though, but like I just I don't like I just wish there was some kind of a progress into overcoming this thing, but it just seems like it's going to be here for a long while.
Yeah. I also fear this. And well, it's interesting how it influences obviously the whole world. And
Yeah.
also, I think, don't get me wrong on this. I mean, as I said before, I worked at a place and three people at our place died from it, and we had a lot of regulations that were horrible also for the people that lived there. And so I've been involved a lot, but I also would say that it's really bad, and it's not like one thing is worse or the other is worse, but what it's made after all of the pandemic and what it shows in different states of the world and how it's handled is also a really bad thing. Not saying one is worse or the other is worse in general, but it shows a lot of things, how this is handled and what kind of things happen. And it's also a lot of, obviously you gotta be fair and say one reason for that is obviously it hasn't been done before, nobody expected it, and when there's something new and there are no regulations for all, there's chaos involved always. So
right.
And also people always make mistakes, and this is everybody, no matter if you're a high politician or if you're whatever. So that's just human, but it's still, yeah. So it's also obviously in Germany, when you now just look at the numbers, it's not so bad from numbers wise, but also here there's a lot of chaos. So I will just mention a few things for that. So biggest during the last weeks, news wise, I gotta say obviously, was for example that in Bayern, so you know Munich, and Munich is the capital of Bayern, of the most southern region in Germany, which a lot of other Germans say is not a part of Germany, but it's not a story and a better joke for Germans. But anyway, so there they have been testing people. There have been tests where people that come back from holidays can test for free and stuff, or people that are flying in from wherever can test for free. And about, I don't know, I think 4 days or something like that ago, it came out that from that list, from their tests, about 500 people were positive, but they don't know, and they don't know how to reach them because they kind of messed up, and so many people. And this has been a few weeks since, and then it came out, and now they still haven't found them, and so there have been a lot of people tested positive that run around, and they're also obviously not in the statistics, so it's known that it's wrong, but they are not in the statistics, and I think there are a lot of things like that, just cause of chaos and of how don't knowing how expect to handle it, or just because when you offer free tests and then they expect, I don't know, they have free people there that they pay, and there are 6,000 people that come. Mm-hmm. You know, and stuff like that, or just people writing a wrong name, or you know, there are so many.
Okay. So like when they get tested, they ask for their information, and you're saying some people they give the wrong information. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not really sure. That wasn't in the news, but I remember from before when that happened. So at restaurants here, they are saying that they have to keep the personal data from people going there. So they are supposed to write down the names of them when they go out and eat. And I remember. So I gotta say too is that people were writing stuff like "I'm Christoph Columbus, I'm Mickey Mouse" and stuff. And then the police blamed the restaurant owners for not enforcing the rules. On the other hand, I mean, what the hell, they're having a normal job, they shouldn't check their IDs. So if that's forced, then they have to find somebody to do it, because it's obviously for a restaurant owner that's really lost a lot of money and maybe has to do all on his own. They can't make him enforce all that. He is nearly broke already, so that's a little bit, you know, even though it would make sense. And there has also been some scandals on Berlin, in the main capital, so basically the biggest and most known city, and in Germany there has been a scandal because police was getting data from restaurants where people wrote down their name, but it hasn't to do anything with COVID. So so some shady stuff. So I hope it's the exception, but still I understand why people afterwards write down that's Mickey Mouse, and also people that don't want to hurt other people obviously get a sense of, okay, I would rather not go out eat because I have to wear a mask the whole time till I eat, and I have to give my personal stuff, and I don't want that. And I also don't want to hurt people, so I just won't go out and eat till this is over, which is also understandable if you feel that way. So obviously, yeah. So there have also been some scandal stuff here. The biggest problem and the whole stuff that I see here, for one, is that there's not one ring to rule them all. And with that I mean every land makes their own rules, and this is why, so for once, companies, so when there's a company in a part of Germany where they are less regulated, obviously they have it a lot better than another company doing the same in another region where it's heavier regulated, or they are not even allowed to open now.
Yeah.
That's the reason. And also, if you want people to do something because they think it makes sense, it makes sense, and you have different rules in every and all tell them the rules make sense, people will start asking, but why are they doing that? And that business is open and stuff like that. And this is obviously pretty natural, because it's for the most normal people, it's like, okay, now you have to believe in something, and everybody tells you something different. Not
right.
And so what are you supposed to believe, and how far you're supposed to go, and yeah. So I think this is the most. Also, last thing, for example, 3 days ago, I read in the German news, they were saying Russia has the first vaccine. Is it right, pronounced right? And they are really scared because in that time it wouldn't be possible to go through all the test phases, and you shouldn't take it at all, and it's a dangerous thing and stuff like that. 2 days later, the German, one of the German companies that's the supposed to be the furthest in developing the vaccine, told, we are thinking that we will be ready about in autumn. And when you hear such things side by side, it obviously doesn't make sense. And so there are things that and this is just because nobody had nobody had a plan of this, but we also had and that's normal, but I don't know how it's obviously we have the WHO in Germany, and but we also have local, so for us it's the RKI and stuff like that. So we have different people that are, and their whole job is to develop vaccines and check out if there's an epidemic and stuff like that the whole time. And well, you can never be prepared, but they also weren't prepared, and also from them they were, it was a bit strange. And I hope everything gets over, but I'm also skeptical, I gotta admit that, because obviously I hope that it doesn't get that much worse, but it looks like realistically it will get. Also, the most vaccines are at the moment tested in the poor, so in like Brazil and stuff, and in India, and they tested on that people. So I think that's morally kind of, don't know what to say.
Yeah, and about like you were saying earlier, how we're getting conflicting information. Like here in the U.S., like at the start of the year, from what I've heard from the news, like our medical organizations have been telling the president, hey, look, there's a pandemic in China, we need to really like focus on this, and he didn't want to do that. And well, and it's not just him, it's like there's it seems like his whole party like was ignoring it and brushing it off. And so months pass, and then it finally he like during the first 3 months he's like just kind of denying it and saying, oh, it'll come and go like magic, and then just brushing it off. But of course, because we don't know what it is, we're not testing for it, so like it was probably already here in the US, and like because we didn't know it was here, because the administration didn't say, hey, look, there's a new plague virus spreading around. We need to isolate it and find it and see how many, start testing for it, et cetera, et cetera. And so 3 months into it, it's just spreading throughout the U.S. with no, you know, no resistance.
Yeah.
And then finally in mid-March, he's finally has to say, okay, look, it's here. We have to do this and this or whatever. But like every time he opens his mouth, like it's just conflicting information with
Yeah.
the medical experts are saying. So we've got a country divided in half with people who are following the medical experts and saying, stay home as much as you can, wash your hands, wear a mask, all this, and then everyone else is saying, no, it's gonna go fine, it's gonna go all right, it's just gonna go away, it's nothing to worry about, just keep about your business, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse, and he still doesn't change his tune, and so like now we're here, and even still he's still resisting what medical advice is what given. So
Yeah, also I'm not sure, and I'm not so deep into American politics, or in general in politics, but it seems to me a little bit like if he would do that, and he did a turnaround in some cases, like
right.
wearing masks or not wearing masks, and also a lot of different topics. But if he would do that, he would lose his biggest type of voters.
Yeah.
It seems like that. So obviously this is a totally stupid reason, because if you are a good politician, and I think most politicians sadly are not, you should go after, your maxim should be to look after, well, this is phrased pretty bad, but the most happiness for the most people.
Right.
So this is what your maxim should be, and well, obviously then you shouldn't go after, I shouldn't angry the people that vote me. You should do the best that you can in the time that you have. But yeah.
Right. So there was that, and that's just one aspect to why we're doing so poorly. Another is from what I heard from this one expert I told you about earlier. Now this is just what I've heard on the news from one expert. I don't, I'm not an expert in this subject, but
yeah, sure.
He was saying that he thinks that a lot of our tests are no good, and by that they mean it's a false positive. So like if we're not like here in the US, we're not testing enough because it's hard to. There's so many people. There's 320 plus million people here. It's hard to test everybody for a disease that just came out late last year, right? It's just a hard problem to tackle.
Yeah. Sure.
But on top of that, like it seems like there's little to no oversight on the tests themselves. So like,
wait, one short question. Are the tests are they paid for, or do they have the people pay for it? Because I know people mostly don't have insurance, or some, and have to pay something. So are the tests free, or do they have to pay for it if they feel like that?
There's some that are free that you can like because it's so hard to come by. People have to like call their government, the city government, and ask.
Oh, okay.
They get tested, and I think the government asks, "Oh, okay, are you showing symptoms? Do you feel sick, et cetera, et cetera?" And sometimes the government will pay for it, but if you can't, then you've got to pay for it yourself, and I think that's like a few $100s or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. For a lot of people will have to pay for it themselves.
Basically. It's €100 for people here that don't get. So they're mostly free, but they discussed about it from time to time, like when people go to holiday and come back, if it's free or if they have to pay, and if they would have to pay €98. So that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's money that's hard to come by because a lot of people have been, they've been fired. They don't work. So it's like, well,
yeah, sure.
You're having to pay rent, and you're having to pay for your groceries, and you're having to pay for this test. You've got no income, and the government just gave us, $1,200 one time instead of now for people who are on unemployment, if they could get it, they were getting like $600 a week, which is pretty good. And in many cases, that's more money that they were making, employed, which is, a different topic.
Okay.
But like, it's just there's no I don't know, the government's not looking after us
Okay.
in this
That's
regard,
pretty
and so
bad.
it's making it worse.
So what are just to understand it? So what do you have? That sounds stupid, but I don't know the system. So what do you have to do to get unemployed? Because it sounds a lot better than the other people that one time
Right.
get some money. So how does it work?
So what I understand is that like your company lets you go, then they've got to submit paperwork to the state government
Yeah.
saying you've been fired on this and this day or whatever, and this was, I guess, this is your information. Then you, the person who was fired, have to go into the call in or go to the government website or something and say, hey, I was unemployed, and give your information, and if it goes
Yeah.
through, then and there's money, then you can get some unemployment money. But the problem is that there's so many people unemployed that the government, the websites couldn't keep up. Like people were saying that they were just calling and calling and calling day in and day out, and they're spending 8 hours a day on the or 12 hours a day on the phone or whatever, just calling again. They're getting the that message for saying, "Oh, sorry, we're busy right now, please call again," or whatever, and they're just kept doing that, or they go into the website and the website doesn't load, et cetera, et cetera. So
Okay.
it's
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. That's
yeah, it's
interesting.
very very tedious, cumbersome. I'm sure it's more streamlined in other countries where where
I mean,
the company just tells the government you're unemployed, and then the government contacts you or something, and it's just not much smoother
yeah.
in
I
other
mean,
countries.
I can talk about our process here because sadly I had to, well, get to know it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so I don't know how Germany is there in the international way, so how it stands there. But so basically, in Germany, when somebody loses their work or doesn't have work, the state pays in general.
hmm
The process is yeah, I wouldn't say the same, but the process is also pretty tedious. So you need to get your old employer to fill out different forms about what you earned 1 month, when you get what kind of money, how much holiday, a lot of stuff basically, and then
yeah,
you have to send it. Then it's not the only thing that you have to get a lot of different things, and to send it in and fill out a form. That's for the most people pretty complicated. Um,
yeah,
Also, the thing is that a lot of people, well, maybe this is totally wrong what I say now, but I will say it and I'm pretty sure it's right. The biggest percent of people that don't have work here, not all, and that's not always the reason, but a lot of them also have problems with the German language. I don't talk it that well, and obviously they have a lot more problems filling out those forms. They just
yeah,
can't understand them. Even when you are German and it's your mother tongue, you have to Google a lot of that stuff because there are questions and where, well, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's like it's just Germany is a really bureaucratic country. That means there are a lot of forms for everything, and you can do a lot of things wrong. And so, for example, I will just say this for me now. Well, I worked at caretaking, and I quit my job last month after about 2 years for different reasons, but I had to get into that process. So for me, it was like I tried to do everything on time because they are really picky and stuff. At the moment, they are all closed, so you can do only stuff about the internet. And
yeah,
when so for example, I had an error in the formula that I had to fill out that wouldn't let me go on. I just couldn't continue when I fill in the right data, and I have to confirm that the data is right. Otherwise, I'm doing something lawfully wrong and can be charged for it. But if I put in the right data, I can't go on. So then I called them and told them that, and the guy told me put in the wrong data and load up the right document afterwards. So this is just one thing. So
right,
yeah, well, I did that and everything, and I also got the stuff from my old job and sent everything in, and then they told me, okay, there's missing data from your insurance, from your health insurance. And I said, oh, okay, they told me at the phone that everything is there, and I have to wait. And I sent it to my health insurance. My health insurance sent it back during 2 days. I sent it there. 2 weeks afterwards, I was getting a letter. The letter said, you haven't called us, and because you haven't called us, and you haven't told over the telephone that you don't have a job, we won't pay you till you phone us. I then sent them in my I don't know what the word in English is. It's basically from your provider, and it shows every number that you called and how long you talked to them. I sent it in to them, and it showed that I talked to them 6 times about 15 minutes during the last fucking month.
Yeah.
And then they sent back, yeah, okay, we accept that, but you should have you haven't taken your holiday this year, so we won't pay for the time that you would have holiday.
Jeez.
And I sent back.
Like, what?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to take a holiday during a freaking pandemic? It's stupid.
Yeah, I even tried that. So when I quit my job, I told them, so can we just say I quit then and just do an old breakup and I quit then and stuff? And they went, no, we don't do that stuff. Obviously they have to by law. They didn't want to pay me that, but obviously by law they have to. So I said, okay, then you have to pay me my holiday. And they had to do that when I quit, because obviously, so in Germany, in our contracts, there's a certain time that you can take holiday, and it's paid. Yeah. So in my contract, it was 30 days. So that means you have to pay me 1 month. If you don't give me my holiday and I haven't took it, then you have to pay me that for that. So, and they said, okay, you should have taken your holiday, and we won't pay for that time. And you also have to. So we have health insurance. So in Germany, everybody has health insurance. Even if you don't have a job, they will charge you about $180 a month, euros about $200 probably a month for that. And yeah, so you kind of don't have a choice. And when you don't get money for them, and you had a shitty job before, then obviously this can be a big problem for some people. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that also here they are trying everything they can to not pay. They will pay, and there are 2 different kinds of unemployment money that you can get. The first one that I now get, so starting next month, I think, is the first one. That means you get 60% of the money you earned before.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, so you get that for when you worked for at least 2 years. And when you work, you automatically also pay health, you also pay for caretaking. So, for example, when you get old and get in the retirement home, you pay every month for that automatically, also for your health thingy, and also for if you get unemployed. So everybody pays every month a percentage from if somebody gets unemployed, so they get money. And after 1 year, you get to the next step, and then you don't get 60% of what you earned before. You basically get the least that the law says that you need to live, basically. Oh. So that means you get paid the lowest type of flat, and you get about, I don't know, I haven't gotten that any time, but I think it's about 380 euro, so it's $400. So basically, so that's the lowest kind that you get here. Yeah. So that's basically paying your rent and paying you $400 a month.
Okay.
So this is how it works here, but it's also tedious to get through the process, and I think it's so Germany is really bad with formulas, with everything, and everybody knows it. But especially this is obviously bad for people that have problems with German or that hate formula stuff. I mean, I'm good with German and I'm able to Google stuff, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that you just don't know, and if you don't know how to help you, who to ask or how to find out information like that, and especially if you don't know the language well, you won't get through that, which is, I think, also part how a lot of people don't get into that and then maybe lose their home and live on the street or doing bad stuff, like, I don't know, selling drugs or whatever, some stuff to make money apart from legal way. But I'm not sure about it. I'm just thinking
The
about it.
thing is like, I think the frustrating part for us is like, as workers, as people at the bottom, is that, like, for example, here in the U.S., like north of where I live, like kind of in the center of the U.S., tornadoes are very common. They're like a yearly thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go everywhere, but we know there's like a season there when
Okay.
at any time, a tornado can kick on, and we've seen what tornadoes can do. They can just rip through your house with, you
Yeah.
know, without slowing down, right? So in those parts of the country, if you want to buy a house or if you want to build a house, you have to build a cellar so that, like, when there's a tornado, your family, you all go into the basement, and it's like designed to withstand, the hurricane or the tornado. And even if a tornado destroys your house, you've got somewhere to be, like you can somewhere safe to be.
You better
So like,
build a whole house on the ground, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess if you have the money, you could do that. But so like, we know, like, there's a disaster, there we could have a disaster, and so let's plan for it, and so when it happens, you're ready for it. And so
Yeah.
we've known that, from 1918, that, a worldwide pandemic can happen, at just any
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
And like, we could have had, not, we can't have vaccines because we need to understand, we need time to understand it first. But we
Sure.
know that, like, we need people to stay home, we need people to quarantine, we need people to pull the kids out of
Yeah.
school, and all this. But like, where was all that preparation? Like, we've known it's coming. It's just like being in, that part of the country in the US, and being hit by a tornado, and like saying, well, I didn't know
Yeah.
a tornado is going to hit my house. Like, what's going on
Yeah.
here? It's like, it's
Uh,
and so, like, part of that preparation would be like, okay, if we want people to stay home, that means they're not going to work, and so we need to make sure that our unemployment system works so that they can pay the rent, and they can stay home, and they
sure.
can feed their family.
Yeah.
And just like, it's just this investment that we can do in the system that we can build, so that the the pandemic comes, and it doesn't really get a foothold as well as it could as in normal life, and so it goes away quicker. But we dragged our feet, and like, we people are still kicking and screaming. There's still like,
Have you said anything after still kicking and screaming? Because I don't.
so that we can.
I think my internet cut out. I didn't hear anything like after cut out streaming. I don't know what's up.
Okay, what was the last part you heard?
After cutting and streaming, something like that you said, and then it cut out before it was a little bit robotic. So
Oh, okay.
maybe 5 seconds.
Okay. So I'm saying, like, there's politicians, like, we're what, 5 months into the pandemic, like, well, at least mid-March. It was
Yeah,
like, it
yeah, I
was
think
here
that's right.
before, but that's when, like, people sounded the alarm finally.
Yeah,
So 5 months later, politicians are still dragging their feet, trying to pay, or refusing people to pay people to stay home so that they can pay the rent, you know, pay their
yeah,
bills, buy food, and just stay home so that pandemic can come back down, so that we can return to work. And people are refusing masks because, they're saying it's my body, my choice. You can't tell me what to do, et cetera, or it's all hoaxes.
yeah. The
And it's
problem
just
is
like,
just that this. Sorry,
if
go
people would
on.
just get with the program and just, bite down for, you know a little while, then we could be done and over. Well, not completely done, but like, it would be, you know it'd be going away, and then people could start slowly returning to work. But we've done, essentially, in the US, we've essentially done everything you're not supposed to do, so it's dragged this on and made it even worse than it could have been.
Yeah, I I'm not sure if this will even So I think it will help a bit, but I'm not sure if it will cut down then, because always when you do it, and even if you do it continuously and the numbers go down, and then when you open it a bit again, it could happen, even though we are really cautious about that there's a big infection again, because just whatever. So, but I also think so that, so for me it's like, I also think so, especially just thinking about, even if all of that is wrong, do you want to kill somebody because maybe you were wrong? You know,
Right.
So this is just my thought about it. And I mean, well, I gotta be honest, and I had that stuff before. I mean, I remember when I worked last year, summer, and it was really hot, and it's like, so, and it's really hot. I have to do a lot of work, and it's about 36 degrees inside. We don't have AC here. And so, and you run around and do stuff. And I've had to do this year again, and this year I had to wear a mask. So obviously this sucks more. You can tell me whatever you want, but this sucks more. That's harder. Still, I didn't want to harm anybody else. But if you have to, especially now, think about it. I mean, I made my education in the hospital. In the hospital, when you go in a room of an infected person, then you don't even, you have to do a lot more than wear a mask. You have to wear a mask, you have to wear something about your head, you have to wear special clothing about around your body, you have to wear gloves. And when you have a lot of these rooms, then that's hell. So, I mean, it's hot, it's just hot. It's not like you can't breathe or whatever, but it's obviously harder than before. If you do hard work and you wear a mask, it's harder. But who wants to harm another person? But it's understandable, especially because this whole thing is not about science. It gets weaponized by every different party to get more people on their side. And this is one of the biggest problems of that, I think. So, and it's no matter what party, and so, yeah. Even the fucking scientists, and I'm not talking about all, but, and obviously I don't know all scientists, but I won't to tell names now, but so here in Germany, there were different scientists, and you could see a few of them that were just, okay, I will just tell everything that I know, and there were also some that went into every talk show, and talked about stuff, and were happy that they now get a bit of publicity, at least it felt like that, and were even saying contradicting stuff. So, yeah. You know, and if you have that, then it's obviously even harder, because when something like this happens, then you need trust, because normal people are no scientists, and even scientists don't know, and it's fucking stupid to communicate something is right if you don't know. So communicate it correct, and that means when you don't know that something is right, then you communicate something like, okay guys, please wear masks. We are about 80% sure, 90% sure, 99%, I don't care. It's just an example that this helps. It won't help you, but it will help other people to not get infected, even if you're asymptomatic. And so the death rate is pretty low, but if you're over 70, the death rate is like this, and it's pretty sure that this or that happens, and people can die. And also, just not so you know, I remember in Germany when this thing started, they first said, okay, it's not more than a flu. Afterwards, they said masks don't work. Don't use masks. And I can tell you why they said that, or why I feel they said it. They said it because they didn't have enough masks for the medical stuff. That was the reason. And then they had enough masks. So, by the way, Germany hasn't paid for about 80 million masks now because they ordered too much. And they're now giving them to other countries, which is not a bad thing, but they're giving them out because they are, there's a date on them when you can't wear them anymore. And yeah, they ordered too much, they couldn't pay it, and then they had too many because they panicked and ordered from everyone because they hadn't have a lot before. And yeah, you understand the chaos. I don't have to lie it out more. So
yeah, it's just like we know this was coming. It's just like we completely. The problem is that
you feel safe after a time when something. It's like when there's a war. Well, after there's a war, all people will be really in panic. Will stock. They have experiences. That means they will, for example, stock food because they know, okay, something happened. I couldn't get food for a long time, and we had to, whatever. So, well, after a time, when maybe 3 generations later or 4 generations, there will be so they will be asked like, well, Grandpa, why do you store all these cans? So why do we have all the stuff in your cellar? And he will maybe tell, but this is the only person that will ask, and everybody else will tell, hey, they are crazy a little bit, or he was in war, you know, he's cool apart from that, but... And then they will forget, and then something like this will happen. And it's always the same. I mean, this is not the first pandemic, and the pandemics most pandemics were, well, they weren't over the whole world, and some were just about young people, you know, it's like the Spanish flu or so it was different. But also back then, there were the same discussions like today. There were people wearing masks, there were people getting beat up because they didn't wear masks, and, you know, depending on where you were, it was the same. So all this is not new. It's like, sadly, the same history repeats itself story. I posted a pic about this in Discord after our first podcast, which is really funny. So the pic consists of 4 or 5 people. It's black and white wearing masks. The one in the middle is wearing the mask not over the nose, and the one on the right is holding a sign saying wear a mask or go to prison.
Yeah.
So I have to laugh about it because it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of sad. Yeah, this is how far we've gotten.
Yeah, it's gonna happen again.
Sure, it will happen again. If we get over this, this will happen again. And yeah, also what's interesting about these whole companies going for vaccine, going now to the what's the word? The thing where you speculate in English, Börse in German, stocks and stuff.
Oh, the stock market?
Yeah. They are all going to the stock market and getting really big, like, oh, they made 2,800% after going to the stock market.
Right.
It's like, you know, and I don't like this. And we talked about that before, without even this in mind, or the pandemic or stuff. So the health system shouldn't be profit oriented. Obviously, that is so stupid. It's so fucking stupid, and everybody knows that, and you also see it in the statistics. When you look at the best health systems in the world, they are all funded by the state.
Right.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I don't know. That's a bit sad, but yeah, don't think anything will change soon, if at all.
Yeah, so I mean, that's my week.
Yeah. Okay, I know, maybe we will get back, but I will tell a little bit about my week. And I had I tried to be a little bit farther away from the corona stuff, and you said at the start that you have to be informed and stuff, and I agree to a certain degree, but as I also said before, due to the fact that you only get negative stuff in the news the whole time, you also have to be a little bit careful, and yeah, so so this week for me, or I will take the last 2 weeks because this is when the last podcast was, and also I'm really bad with time, so to say this was 7 days or 9 ago or whatever. So something that was pretty cool for me at first, and then I was a bit annoyed, but well, it was my birthday 2 weeks ago, and I got a camera for my birthday, and I wanted one a long time before because I made photos with my handy. I have a 100 euro Chinese handy, so the camera is not the best. And I wanted one, but I was never like, okay, I didn't want to pay that much money because I don't have a clue about it and whatever. And yeah, so at the end I got a camera that was from someone that was from MediaMarkt, that was basically set down, and also Restposten, which basically means something like maybe somebody had it and brought it back or stuff like that. So it was even reduced from that. So it was a big chunk cheaper, and well, I got the camera. I was happy that now I can play around with it. It took me 2 days. I understood it. I was happy to understand it. It was from Canon. It was the Canon 250D, if anybody is interested. And then I found out the autofocus doesn't work. Yeah, which was when I had to ask, because it was a present, as I said. So I asked, "Hey, sorry, I have a problem with the camera. So I don't know. I think the best thing is if you send me the receipt so I can send it in, or do you want to do it?" Because normally when you get a gift, obviously nobody tells you how expensive it was or not, and you don't have the receipt. But if you don't have the receipt, you can't. So in Germany you have 2 years warranty when you buy something. Mm-hmm. So, but you need the receipt to get the warranty. So then he sent me the receipt, and I then went to MediaMarkt. You know MediaMarkt is also in the US, I guess, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's a big electronics store, like Saturn and MediaMarkt are the big electronics stores here. I don't know if they exist at your... Anyway, they are the last big electronic chains. So, where you can buy everything from a TV to a PlayStation to a camera. I went there and I hoped they just gave me a new, but they sent it into the Canon support, and they told me Canon support, because of Corona, it will take 4 weeks or more.
Oh my.
Yeah, and the stuff was, I got the camera. Another guy, another friend, gave me. God. So he had all.
If you want to stay home, just take pictures, but your camera doesn't work, and you want to send the camera back, but then you can't. Yes. It's like, man, one thing after another, isn't it?
It was pretty annoying, but I don't know what to make of it. I hope it doesn't take that long. And I made some cool pictures while the camera was away. I think this is typically, but yeah. So I posted it in Discord. So yesterday I filmed a wasp attacking a butterfly while flying and then eating it. I have a video. I will edit the video and also upload it. I posted some pictures in Discord also. Sadly, it's pretty bad because it was with my handy. But yeah. Anyway, so I bought so when I got the camera, obviously, I bought a SD card for the camera. I bought what's the name, stativ, so where I can stand it on, so with 3 legs and stuff. You know, I don't know what the word in English is. And a bag for the camera. And then I found out the autofocus didn't work. Yeah, I was really not after giving it in, but now I just hope it comes back soon, and I don't find too much cool things that I wanna photo afterwards. And the other thing I haven't done in this week, but the week before, I started the RPG again. I started Divinity Original Sin 2 again, because for such a long time I wanted to deep dive in RPG, and I always had problems, and I also talked a few times about maybe I don't know, my attention is just for platformers these days. I can't deep dive RPGs anymore. But I also have more time now, obviously. A little bit at least. And I did it. And I really enjoyed it. And the story after getting in it. I decided to not stream it because I tried it once before and I wasn't able to get in it. So this time I tried it without it. And I really had fun. I gotta say that game is really, really complex. So after being in for a good time, I was a little bit overwhelmed with some of the systems, because if you don't know what you do and you're just trying stuff out with building your character and stuff, you can fuck up a lot. So because it's a really big RPG system where you can basically do everything from killing everybody you are talking with to also skilling everything that you want in a total free system. So you can do a lot of wrong stuff. But then later I happily found out, and I thought the whole time I fucked up, and then later I found out, okay, now I can change my skills. I don't know for how long, but I can. So a long time I thought, oh my god, I fucked up, should I start again? But yeah, in general I was happy to deep dive to something like that again and have fun with it. It was a cool experience. I think I haven't even played half of it, but still. It was cool. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apart from that, that's so. Wait, one more. I can tell one or two more things that I mentioned to you before. So I kinda so I will meet two friends with which I made music about 11 years ago. Soon, which is a cool thing. It's a little bit, well, with one guy it was really uncomplicated. It's like, yeah, let's do it. And we thought like, okay, let's all three do it. And I contacted the last one, and he said it's really hard for him time-wise. He nearly has no time, and he has a little child and stuff. And so we are now waiting for him to tell us when he has time, and then we will meet up again for beats and beer. So we are basically freestyling and drinking beer. And I'm looking forward to that, because obviously also during this time I have been really cut back on social interactions, but you can't cut back on everything. So I basically have two friends that I still see on a regular level, so not only on phone, but we hang out and stuff. And but apart from that, I have really cut it down since that stuff. Yeah, and so I'm looking really forward to that. That's a good thing. And maybe we will even record it. So I'm really looking forward, because this was a thing that I started. So I basically started freestyling somewhere in my youth when I was about 15 or 16, and I kept going till the start of my 20s, and then afterwards maybe it toned down and then it went away. But I always liked it, and I liked the feeling, and it was cool to talk to the old guys, and everybody has, we all had a few years where we done it, and we want to meet again and do something. So this is a cool feeling, and I hope it will work and won't take so long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to, like, as we get older, like, people get into relationships, they get married, have kids, and just they take their own pursuits. But like as kids, like, we're all in school together, like, every day. It's really easy to hang out, because at least in school, like, you have school, and then you go home and you have your homework, of course, and you might have like other activities, but there's generally quite a bit of time to hang out with your friends. But like, as you get older, people move, and they get into relationships, and they have kids, and they have jobs and stuff, so it gets hard to keep friends.
Yeah, the problem is that's really that's a really cool topic. I think the problem is, and I totally agree, is that it's just so easy to, in school or university, not for all people, but for the most people, it's, let's say, easier to make friends or whatever, or activities with other people, or whatever you want to call it, when you're together with a lot of people, and you tend to not do that when you're older. So I want to phrase it that way, because that's the problem. And before you're thrown into that, and obviously you don't choose to, okay, I want to be at school with these 30 guys. So you're just thrown into that. You could obviously also do that later, but I won't say, I also don't do that. But that's an interesting thing. This is why some people then, I don't know. So it's the same. I'm guessing. I haven't been into sports clubs or stuff like that since my youth, but it's the same. Yeah. So there are different types of. It's like a group where there's a shared interest. In school, the shared interest is, there are different shared interests. The interest is, okay, all have to be there, but there are interests that find in there, like even if the interest is, okay, I hate school, you know, you will find a group that also hates school.
Yeah.
So there are different interests building in there. And most of the time, this is where something starts. Finding interest, even though it can be really interesting, especially to talk with people that have totally different interests or a different way of life, I always think. But yeah, this is mostly how connections feel. It's like, okay, so I mean, maybe in kindergarten your mom says, okay, you have your birthday, you don't have friends, let's invite, you have to invite your whole class, so these are the cards, hand them out to everybody, you know,
Yeah.
be a social guy, or whatever, I don't know, but apart from that, afterwards in school, it's like, it's interest-wise, it's like, okay, do you also hate this teacher? Yeah, okay. Do you also like football? Okay, let's play Street Fighter. You are Blanca? I like Blanca. Okay. You know, it's...
Yeah.
Do you like wrestling? So it's like this. And when we get older, because we don't have this place where all these people are together, people say it gets harder and getting lonelier easy. Because this is missing, but everybody wants it.
Right.
This is the important thing about that. And the thing that... Or the things that try to go in between that are things like online dating or stuff. I can't say that much about it because I haven't used it. I had one experience that wasn't online dating. That was like through. I only used Discord. It was like initiated through something like this, and at the end, it was pretty horrible. But it doesn't mean that it always has to be like this, obviously. But yeah, I think this is not a worthy. Wait, I have to Google the word because I don't know it. It's not a worthy. Wait, I'll Google it.
Substitute.
Yeah, it's not a worthy substitute to school or something where you're all thrown in, and then it's a obviously totally different way to socialize. Where also a different level is missing because you don't see each other and you show yourself as with pictures and not, you know, and all that stuff, and you write and nobody can see your face with that and all that stuff.
And another thing, like, it's easy to forget that, like, with school, you all have to be in the same place at the same time. Whereas when you get, you know, you become an adult, you might have a job in the day, you might have a job at night.
Yeah.
You might have to travel for your job, and so like your time gets sucked away by your responsibilities. Whereas in school, like, I mean, you're all together, so. Like,
you're fully right, and I forget that. But I will just say one thing and then let you talk on. It's like when I think about, and it's been some time, but when I think about playing World of Warcraft, you know, there have been guilds that only raid at night. There have been guilds that raid at every time of the. So it's possible, but I totally agree. Yeah.
And of course, you know, there's the thing where people like, let's say they grew up on, you know, Sega Master System or whatever, and then they pick up a Nintendo or Super Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo is just so much better, and they really love it, so they don't like the Master System as much. So their taste change, and so maybe your taste is, maybe you still like Master System and you don't really like Super Nintendo, so it's like, well, there's less common interest with that person.
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe like you like for me, I still like arcade games, even of the, you know, 80s and 90s. But, you know, it's perfectly reasonable for people to say, oh yeah, I like those at the time, but, you know, now that I've got a PlayStation at home, you know, it's just so much better, and the games are so much more what I like, and I mean, that's fine. So like, it's just, there's a lot of things working against trying to keep and maintain friendships.
Yeah, which also, I think we talked about it one of the podcasts before, about the thing with, well, responsibilities, mainly if you want a wife and kids, because this takes the most time, because then you obviously have to earn more money, because you have to pay more money and you need more time because, well, obviously your kids grow up and need time and have to be educated and stuff like that, and you want to have time with your kids, obviously. And so, yeah, and so that's a big step back on your own free time where you can do what you want, which is a decision, but also is for a lot of people something that just happens. Yeah. So yeah, that's how. Also, when that happens, interests often change a lot. Obviously, also the time changes a lot. So if you are a guy or a woman and you have 20 friends and your whole life is doing something with your 20 friends and your boyfriend or girlfriend, and then you get 2 childs, and then, well, you are happy, you have problems sleeping, they are both screaming and whatever, and you're really happy when you even find, I don't know, maybe 3 hours a week where you have time for something, and then you have 20 friends. So what are you doing? So it's not like you can fulfill the needs of all your 20 friends in 3 hours a week, and also you have your own needs and you need to put up your feet in between and stuff like that. And also in you a lot of stuff will change, not even harmonically and not even that, but also what you need and what you can and stuff like that, which is all totally natural. But a lot of your friends will obviously understand it, but also a lot of friends won't change themselves. So if you, for example, 5 of their friends, you were going out partying once a month for a weekend, and you don't have time for that anymore, they will probably talk to you, but the relation will still be a totally different relation, because they will still go out then. And you don't have time for that anymore. So, yeah. So it sounds so stupid, but so I lost so many friends to new girlfriends or children.
Yeah.
So, and it's cool. I hope they are all happy, but it's like, most of the time it was like there was contact got few and few, and at a time it was like, okay, we talk 2 times a year about how's your life.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm an honest person that's like, okay, I'm cool with that, but this is not like, it's, that's not like...
Yeah, you want some more everyday, like, contact with people.
Yeah, sure. That's like, okay, it's cool that we keep in contact, and it's nice to know what there's going on, but obviously the boundary is not that big as before, because you're not a part of each other's lives anymore. In that case, you're just talking 2 times a year about what's going on in your life. Maybe that's cool, and maybe if you have some memories, but that's obviously a different thing than cooking every 2 weeks together and having an evening together or stuff like that. Yeah, that's an interesting thing in our stuff.
And it's a shame, because social media is the solution to that, but it's become so toxic, and so like it just puts me off. Like for me, in my case, back in early to mid 2000s, I had a Facebook account, because my friends were on Facebook, and before that it was MySpace, and before that we had others, but like it was cool to, like, when they couldn't hang out in real life, you could just like make a post and then people would chime in. But like then I started to understand what Facebook was doing. They were doing all this shady stuff, and I didn't like it, so I quit. But that meant like, oh, there's a bunch of people on Facebook that I might know, but because I don't want to deal with Facebook the company, and I don't want to make them richer, that means I'm missing out on all those friends and potential past friends and maybe potential friends and stuff like that. And it's just same with like anything, like even if Google had their own social network that has since died, but like it's like every company it's understandably they want to make money, but it seems like the way they want to make money is like really kind of suspicious and
Yeah, it's the same always. Most of the time, there's one big starter, and then everybody goes for it because it gives money. And you're right, social media is obviously not the whole, but a big. So it's a good thing because otherwise, people that are a long time away couldn't even talk with each other. So it's a good thing, but also because of all these companies brew their own soup and have their own platform because they want to earn their own money, there's a separation again. And the other separation, as you mentioned, is obviously because some people say, Facebook, I want to burn you down. No, I'm just, I also don't like Facebook and I don't use Facebook. So it's just a saying from, I won't use that anyway. So, and obviously there are other people that don't know or that don't care, which is fine. So it's not like, but obviously you won't meet each other if you don't meet each other in real life, because one is using that, the other one is not using that, or one is using the, I don't know, Google social media, the other one is using the Apple social media, and the other one is, so
right.
And so they're even divided into groups of the people, and so the separation is so stupid because they are separated by big companies that just want to make money and don't care.
Right.
So this is the most stupid thing about that. Think about it. Yeah. But it's still interesting, but still pretty stupid. Wait, that's interesting. I just read the headline, so I can't say that much about it. But have you read the stuff that I never played Fortnite. That Fortnite was banned from the App Store,
right.
They banned it from the Apple Store, and I think short later from the Google Store. And yeah, I don't know, I googled it and I only read the headline. So I read they got banned because they said, that's the same thing that they said about Steam at the start, that they take so much money from the apps in there. So they take 30%, which, obviously is a big cut. Epic could care less. I think they are pretty rich, so they are pumping out free games the whole time on Epic Games. So, but still, yeah, they said it. On the other hand, a small company couldn't say that because they are much more dependent and are not really rich, so they are dependent to pay that. But then the other thing was that I read in the same article, I can't quote it now, as I said, I read a little bit, I even didn't read the whole article. But then it said that Epic had so that's a marketing campaign, or it looks like one, because they had a video ready blaming Epic for all that stuff after Apple, after Apple putting Epic out of the App Store. So they immediately released a video against it, a marketing campaign, how bad Apple is for that and stuff, and that they are fighting against that stuff, which I found quite funny. But it's also a lot showing, and then afterwards there are people, and then they had a hashtag with Free Fortnite, and then there were tons of people for Free Fortnite and Apple is bad or fuck Fortnite and stuff like that, which is so funny because that's the same thing. That's like it's like people or political parties, like we talked before, weaponizing the corona stuff for something and getting people on their side. And now Apple and Epic are doing the same thing, and they are probably some of the richest companies in the world, and then there are some 16-year-olds playing their games, fighting against each other. It's so funny.
It's so stupid.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
It's so funny because it's so stupid. I really laughed, so I have to do it again. I laughed so hard when I read the article.
And like going back to Steam, like Electronic Arts, they used Steam for their PC games, and it was all great because like you could buy all these EA games from the back catalog on Steam, and you don't have to and they had a bunch of sales. But then there was I think from what I remember, it was like Mass Effect 2, where EA made some DLC for Mass Effect 2, and what they wanted to do is just sell the main game on Steam, and Steam takes Valve takes a cut from that, the 30% or whatever it is.
It's
And then they said,
30%, right?
okay, if you want the DLC, then come to our website and buy it. And they didn't offer it on Steam, and then so there was this big fight between Valve and EA about like, well, about EA being greedy because they want to sell the DLC without giving Valve a cut rather than just selling the DLC on Steam, and everybody's happy. And so
both
what
are
wound up
greedy.
happening, right. I mean, it's just, and so what, because they weren't satisfied with selling to millions and millions and millions of Steam customers, what they do is they put a bunch of money into making their own platform, and so that where they could sell their own games. So now where you had one dominant place to buy PC games digitally, now you've got two separate ones, and so like what is, and I mean, this is all this has happened before, like with Netflix. With Netflix was the dominant place to watch movies, like copyrighted movies online for legally. Disney put in their movie, Disney put in their content, and the Warner Brothers and all the big studios put in their content, and everybody's happy. And then they got the idea, what if we just do this ourselves and then charge people more money for it? And so that's where you get Disney Plus and Hulu and all this other stuff. So I don't know what Epic is thinking they're going to do. Are they going to just release their own phone where you can play Fortnite on it? I mean, I don't. So now we have Apple's phones, Google's phones, and now we have Epic's phones. Like, I don't know what.
I mean, Windows Phone is also coming again. They are trying it again, so that might be possible. So I even think it's really possible. So obviously that's stupid, and these are $1 billion. I don't know how much, but these are really rich companies fighting against each other, and also weaponizing their fans, which is kind of, it's stupid, but it's kind of funny to me. But so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what comes out of that. But you also gotta be fair and to say that Steam did the same. The only thing that's different is that Steam didn't have a competitor. Steam did the same with Half-Life 2. So, and it didn't tell it before. I bought Half-Life 2 and I had Half-Life 2 as a physical copy. I still have it. And I installed it, and they forced me to install Steam. The game wouldn't work otherwise. Everybody hated it. Steam was a piece of shit at the beginning, and everybody hated it. I mean, I still hate Steam, even though I use it for some reasons, but this is different, and some people like achievements and collecting cards and stuff, and then that's fine for them. So, and mods not working offline. Only if you copy the contents in the game folder and then start them with a trick, because Steam wants you to be online the whole time. So these are the parts that annoy me. But yeah, so it's also not good. It just was the first thing, but I totally agree. But as you said, it's with all that stuff. It's like with, I mean, before Spotify there was Grooveshark. I don't know if everybody even remembers that. And they also they quit soon after Spotify opened, I think, and they also didn't make money really. So I don't know if Grooveshark even, I think they didn't even have a premium stuff account. And it's the same with stuff like IRC, ICQ, Facebook, all the stuff we talked about. It's just, it starts somewhere, and then every writer comes and wants their part of the meat. And we are the meat, by the way. Right. And and then they are fighting about that with all weapons they have, because it's about money. It's about money, and we kind of made that money the most important thing, because with money you can nearly buy everything. I mean, in some countries, like, you can, you can in all cases buy health, but in some countries without money you can't even get the health stuff that is possible to get, like, I don't know, maybe insulin or whatever. So money doesn't rule everything, and money doesn't make happy. But if you don't have money, then you won't be happy. So there's a certain amount that you need Definitely. So, and a lot of people that have less are happier, I learned in my life, but there's still a certain amount that you need if you live in this world. With which I want to say, you can live in this world in a different way, but that's really hard in our society. So if you are somebody, and I'm pretty sure they exist somewhere, I don't know, and you are eremit living in India and trying to get to enlightenment and get gifts from people that listen to your hour-long rants, or if you have 2 hectares and have your own chickens and farm on that, and you're able somehow to live by the land and not get charged each month from your government to pay 500 euro because you own land and need insurance for that and stuff like that, then maybe that's possible. But for most people, that's not really possible to live outside the society.
Right, and that's not, some people will certainly be happy just, living on a farm, raising the animals, and growing what they eat. And if they choose to eat meat, then, slaughtering the animals and raising them. Sure, like, I don't know how much land that takes, but that's quite a bit of land. And of course, like you were saying, you got charged every year to own land. So it's not free. And unless you're, I don't know, unless your government doesn't charge for land or whatever. But I don't know how that works. But for me, that wouldn't work. Like, I could certainly learn how to farm and feed myself, and just by my own effort. But then what interests me is stuff like astronomy and science and stuff like that. So in order to do that, like,
you probably can't change a chicken for... I can't hear you anymore. Is my internet again fucked up?
these people researching, and
sorry, I had people researching, and before it wasn't for you. I think my internet cut out again. It's horrible today. Sorry.
Okay. So, like, for me, like, science interests me. So, like,
yeah,
I can't do all the research, the science research myself. So for me, it's beneficial to me when people like these people over here are researching, various aspects of medicine. These people over here researching astronomy, and these people over here researching like computer hardware, and these people are working in computer software. And so, like, there's this whole ecosystem, people like doing their own thing, and we as the the people who are not involved get all these advances in medicine, and get faster computers and newer video games, and we learn more from astronomy and our place in it, and et cetera, and like some people are doing the farming, so you don't have to go out there in the fields and grow your own crop, and if your crop fails, then you starve or whatever.
Yeah.
But so being isolated from everybody else and self-independent is not my... it would be, you could live off that, but it wouldn't be very... it would make me happy. And so I kind of need
me neither fully
a modern society.
Yeah, me neither fully. I just wanted to make the point that even if people would want to live outside the society, that in the most places that I know, it wouldn't be possible because you are always kind of involved in that. So this is not possible, even if you, for example, I don't know, make your money, buy your land, and then try that. Only if you made enough money before. Right. So it's always, you don't get out of this money system. That's what I just wanted to say. I also wouldn't be happy. I really like nature, and I also a little bit like gardening, and I'm thinking about maybe get ducks again and stuff like that. But and obviously I do that because it makes me happy, because it's more work than you get out of it. I gotta just say it's so. At least if you do it in a small frame, I don't have much land, so it's not like I can do this in a great space. It's rather really a small space, and it's a lot of work. But yeah, I just do it because I enjoy it. But this is a different story. It's the same for me as for you. I enjoy it for parts, but I also, even though I'm a little bit more on the edge, I want to be in the society. I want internet. I want to play games from time to time. I want to read the news. and want to know what's
Yeah.
on in the world or what, stuff like that.
And that reminds me, like, I watched a video, and I think it's a series of videos, but I just watched like one of them about this man and woman who got married, and they were working. They were both like in the making a lot of money at some expensive city, and they just they had a talk, saying we're making this money, and it's good money, but like we're not really happy. So what they decided to do is they sold their house, they quit their jobs, they put that money into a boat. So they bought
I hope you can hear me. They put that money into a boat. That's the
a
last
boat.
thing. Sorry,
They can.
internet cut out again. So they
Okay.
put the money into a boat. That's the last thing I
Yeah.
heard. Sorry.
And they got like radio and computer, satellite internet, and they've got like laptops, and they've got food, and they've got like a distress signal. So if they're in trouble, they can hit this
Call the
device,
Coast
and
Guard.
somebody comes to get them, whoever it is.
Yeah.
So they went traveling around the world, down the coastline and to different places of the world, and they really enjoyed it. They enjoyed the independence, but of course, you need to eat. And on a boat, you can't really. I mean, I guess you can go fish, but like you're not going to get
A lot more than fish out of the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, from time to time, they do have to come ashore, and they have to work for a while to make sure they can buy some more gas for the boat, and some more food. And of course, they have, like many married
Repair
people do,
stuff
they had
on
a
the
baby, and so there's more expenses. So it's like, man, I hope they're enjoying it, because it sounds like really romantic to kind of just unplug
Yeah.
from our society and kind of travel the world, but then it's not all sunshine and roses. And
Yeah, sure.
too.
I mean, what happens when the most expensive stuff on your boat, your motor breaks or stuff like that, and you have to get towed and you're in the middle of the ocean, and you have to get towed by somebody, then you are lying somewhere, and I don't know. So, for example, here in my city, there's a boat place, and when you have your boat laying there, you have to pay 500-600 euro a month for having a boat laying there. So then you have a broken boat laying at that place and needing it to repair. And then it's a small really small village where they don't have stuff to repair it, and there's only one guy to repair it. And it's really expensive, and he doesn't have the stuff. And he orders it, and it takes 3 months because it's Jamaica. It's like, but I obviously fucking do that stuff. These are the greatest experiences, but I would try to suppress it, but I'm also conditioned so badly that I'm a pessimist, so I always think about I try not to about such things, but I still, and I know that for sure, it's like if I meet the right crazy person that connects with me, and in some mood something like that comes up, and I mean I don't have the money, and I would have the money, and we both will have the money, I would do it. And I really fuck up, that's life. So that's what life is about. So, and the thing that you also have to think about, even though all this is horrible and you lose everything and you're really broke, it's like, okay, the one person sailed through a lot of different stuff and has experience that no one had, and then that happened, and then they were stranded for 3 months in Jamaica and lost all their money, for example. And the other person didn't do it, kept working their job that they were annoyed from before, that they did 20 years ago also, and had money, but weren't happy, bought the same stuff every month. So you always have to see that in relation, kind of. And I mean, so the thing is, we talked about it one time off stream about religion and stuff. So the question about it is, what do you take with you? So I don't know, people saying different stuff. So some people saying, depending on how good you behave, maybe you get a different life, which is you get reincarnated. Some people saying you take nothing with you. Some people believe you come to heaven or hell. I think, I'm not sure if this is right, I think most people saying when it's over and you take nothing with you. I'm not sure if this is right. And if you take nothing with you, obviously you have to decide for yourself which is, by the way, a really interesting topic. So, what are the important things for you? What are your wishes in life? What do you want to do? What's important? You know, these are the big questions
Right.
for everyone, and this is basically your sense of life.
Yeah. And now that I'm older, like, if you were to ask me this question when I was, a teenager, you get a different answer. But now that I'm
Sure.
older, I think one of the most important things that we should all be participating in is, making sure, even if we're not having kids ourselves, that our species continues. The only way we can, the only place that will harbor us is Earth, and we need to protect it. We need to clean up all our mess in the ocean, on the land, in the air. And we need to uh, change our habits so that, like, if we make stuff, we can recycle it so we don't, create more garbage. And that's not like me personally, but I think that's something we all have to do collectively, just to make sure that, we're all gonna die, but at least our species carries on, and maybe someday we'll start going to the moon and to other planets and meeting
But I'm
other
not.
life forms. But like
Keep the other
we're not
planets
at this.
healthy.
Yeah. If we live somewhere else, then we need to make sure we don't destroy that place too. And
Yeah.
um, if we find other species, we don't, like, you know go to war with them, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there's so much to learn, but the only way we can make sure we can do that is just make sure that we're healthy and, living sustainably. But for me personally, I don't know. I kind of just like computers myself and technology, and it's really interesting. There's far more than I can actually learn. There's far more that our species is learning than I could actually possibly, like, absorb myself.
Yeah. Sure.
But I do, like, find all this science stuff interesting. Of course, that's just, science. There's also, art and literature and, all these other aspects of our species that, um, all these other endeavors that we can, get into, but, like, those don't interest me as much as science,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. Yes. This. So wait. Where do I start? So first, if we meet another species, well, I honestly, most of my life, had a pretty pessimistic view, as I stated often. I also think humanity is lost for a
Yeah.
long time. I don't think humanity will change. Um, I mean, I can think that small parts of humanity will change, but I don't think that major part of humanity will be cool with other part of humanity wanting to change and giving them a small island where they can uh, live in a way that's, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think I think and I think history repeats itself sadly the whole time, and everything has kind of been there. Technology goes on and on. We are moral wise, we are on a high horse, and we never ride that horse. We just talk about it, and I don't think we will get there. So yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't make it. We won't get on that high horse by getting all female Ghostbusters and all black James Bond, or it's it's I find all that stuff really stupid. I don't think it will lead anywhere, and I even think it's not what they should do. So well, this just was an example, obviously, and it was pointing about studios wanting to represent diversity by forcing, for example, a female James Bond or female Ghostbusters or stuff like that, or
Right.
which is totally stupid because obviously not being focused on that stuff, the best thing you should do, it shouldn't be about race or gender, about all that stuff. Nobody fucking cares. Just get the best person to do that job. This is the right thing to do and has been the whole time. And if you try to advocate for diversity and for equality, then that's also the best thing to do. So the other thing is against the own cause. That's at least my opinion. But yeah. So yeah, I'm always. Yeah, I don't know. This is a bit. Yeah, I don't know how to face that. So I also back then said humanity is kind of lost. The planet would be better without us. But I also thought, okay, we are kind of nature, so we are fucking all this up. This is also part of nature. In the worst case, we and the planet will go under, and maybe then the planet has time to come back and
Right.
whatever. Or maybe we will just find the right spaceship to go to the next planet before this one isn't inhabited anymore, and we will then live on Mars. And maybe we will do it better there or not. I don't know. I won't be there to find it out. But I don't. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how all this developed, and it's interesting how all this, how we became like this, because when you look at all the animals, there are horrible things happening, like in the human world. There's cruelty, and so at least, I mean, we are saying what's horrible and what not, so we are judging. But you can see really cruel animal stuff, and like if a human would do, oh, how could he do that and stuff like that. But there's a difference, and the difference is that an animal will kill to eat and to live, and maybe also kill of instinct, but animal alone, or maybe a tribe of animals, maybe 20 animals won't extinct a whole other race normally, because they want all the other race, or want the houses of the other race, because the beavers built a dam. Or stuff like that. So this is unique to humans, and pretty horrible. So there is something happened in evolution that made us pretty bit horrible and parasite kind. I don't know.
Yeah. The question is do animals have a consciousness? And like that's something we can't really answer, because like you need, if you have a consciousness and you know what you're doing and you're aware, then you could say, oh, I'm doing this when I shouldn't be, and you can judge it to be cruel. But if animals don't have consciousness, then they don't really have cruelty. So, and they're just acting
but
instinctively.
You're right. But this is the interesting thing. So, yeah, you're right. They don't have cruelty, or if we judge it as cruelty, but they also don't have. So we have self-consciousness, and we are the only ones that we know of or think of that have that we can think about our own actions.
Mm-hmm.
We are also the only people that are doing this over the levels. Like, okay, let's kill all them because we want their oil. Or, I'm just saying something bluntly like that. An animal would, okay, I gotta feed me and these 7 children, let's kill all the mouse in this hole, and we will eat and we will go and we will sleep. They won't build a freezer and kill all the mice on the whole farm and put them in the freezer, so they are safe for the next 20 years. Probably they would if they could think, so this is the interesting part, what that part does. Obviously I don't know, but it's a really interesting it's a really interesting thing about it, I think.
Yeah, I think to come back to it, like, we're cruel because, like, in order to kill something else, like,
my internet went down again in order to kill something else.
To live an animal. Okay.
My internet went down again.
So something that we do that wouldn't be cruel is to kill like a cow so that we can eat it, right? That's self-preservation, and that's what every other animal that's a meat eater does. A cow will kill grass, for instance, or leaves so that it can kill plants so that it could survive, and then we can kill cows so that we can survive. So that's just makes us an animal. But what we do is, like, maybe we'll kill a cow just for fun, just for amusement, and that's what kind of makes us cruel. And we can maybe, like, if we need water, we might have to move our tribe or our family into this area, but it's contested because other people want water, so that's just instinct and conflict. But like if we don't want water, or if we don't need this water, but we conquer this land just to have the water anyway, that starts to be cruel. So yeah, that's a part of like that's uniquely kind of human, where
Yeah.
we harm something else when we don't have to.
I mean, imagine we would find aliens, and aliens would keep humans in the zoo having the same moral guide that humans have. Like, okay, don't let them get extinct. Put them in their natural habitat, and then you would sit there on a fucking couch in a 2-room apartment getting, I don't know, getting American unemployment checks every 2 months because this is the best thing how to keep a human. And every once in a week you can go to the football place, and otherwise you watch TV because that's what they saw most humans do, and what their science given out that it's the best thing to do with human. And then they will start making probes of us because they're saying, okay, that's strange. 15% of the humans kill themselves by doing that. And why do they look so strange as us when we try to examine them? And it's all, there's a lot of stuff that's kinda, it's okay as long as we are not, as long as we are doing it.
Right. Yeah, we do give ourselves a lot of we do overlook a lot of our flaws in that way.
Yeah, we are putting us pretty high up on the protest and deciding on where to put other stuff without too many, so with reasons, but honestly with not too many good reasons for me. So I found it interesting. So most reasons are probably in a scientific way that especially that what we just talked about. Humans can think about their actions and have a big brain, so they are worth more. So exactly what we are just talking about is the reason which is named as why we are able to do that, and the justification, basically, which is kind of interesting. Also a bit scary. Yeah.
Yeah. So you asked the question, are we ever going to grow out of that? And it's just from being here in 2020, and like I was saying earlier, the pandemic, the coronavirus, it doesn't care who you are, what party affiliation, what language you speak, et cetera, et cetera. It just needs your biology to spread, and it's an enemy of all of us. So in order for us to get past it, we all have to wear masks, stay home, wash your hands, all this stuff. But and so that's the way to get past this obstacle. But there's so much resistance to that plan, and it's not just uniquely this. It's well, we need to clean up, the earth, and we need to do this and this and this. Well, there's all this resistance against this, or we need to get rid of poverty. Okay, well, this is how we do it. Well, there's a bunch of resistance to it. Or we need to feed the hungry. Okay, we do this and this and this. So we know what we need to do, but there's all this resistance to doing the right thing, and I'm kind of in that same boat with you, where I don't know if we're ever going to grow out of that. I don't know if we're ever going to become a better species.
Yeah, I also sadly don't think so, and the reason you nearly said, the reason is, so all these things work, and we mostly know that they work. We not especially for all know how they work, but we know how it didn't work. Anyway, like the thing I tried on the Twitch chat. It's we know that there's enough food to feed everyone on the world, and we know that for a long time, but we don't do it because everyone wants the best for himself.
Right.
That's just the reason. So obviously you gotta divide somehow, with which I mean it's not most normal people, to be honest, without all the narratives and media and whatever, if you just ask them, do you want nobody to die of hunger, of famine, whatever the word is, they would say, sure, I don't want that. do you want everybody to have enough water? Yeah, I want it. Most people would say that. And we have politicians, and the politicians are there. I mean, obviously there are a lot of corrupt regimes and stuff and whatever, but in general, apart from, I don't know, it's different in every country. There were monarchies, there was absolutism, dictatorships, but politicians should be something like the best for all, you know?
Yeah.
And I even think I will go a step further and say borders are fucking stupid. You shouldn't be allowed to tell a human where to go. And there should be something like a human, like a world politician. You know, there should be people, and the politicians should do that for the whole world. They should be like, okay, we are elected by the whole world, and our aim for audit is that everybody has food, has water, has you know, like that. So this should be the aim. But instead, we have a lot of different countries, and everybody is like, this should be the best, and people at bad spaces looking at the good countries wanting to go there because they don't even have work in their countries. And then there are rich countries that are sending their trash there and sending their old cars there, and you know, and making business like that, and then saying sorry and paying them $1 million a year. And it's so
right.
There are so many things like these that, and everybody says they want the same. Still, everybody can see it is not stupid that they don't do anything for it. So,
right.
And there are so many corrupt people governing over people that don't even want that and that don't care. And the most people that are following that are doing that because we are living a good life. Look at the other countries, how bad they are. We have it good here. And this is because of this or that guy. Or this or that history of this and that people that have put a stone in for this to be like that today. And that's so stupid. Obviously people all over the world are different, but there should be some, at least it's my opinion, there should be really an overlapping stuff of, so okay, we can all agree on everybody should have food, everybody should have water, children should have the chance to have a basic education so that they maybe afterwards have a chance to do different stuff. Obviously this is a hard one, by the way, because especially basic education, I mean, I'm in Germany, and a lot of people say great things about Germany, so I don't know. So for me, my education, and I was at the high school of Germany and I finished that, I don't know. So I mostly learned in my school how to, the most important thing that I learned in school had nothing to do with school. And school wasn't hard for me. It was like the most important thing that I learned in school was socializing with other people. That was the most important thing, and how these stuffs work, how people think and work. And in school, especially, I learned that you have to be good with the teachers, and then you can do what you want. So these are the most important things that I learned back then. I mean, I also learned other stuff. I'm happy about the languages that I learned. I'm also happy about, so for example, let's take mathematics. So I don't know how to translate it to English. So there are two things that I learned from mathematics in 8 years that I still use and that made sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else I didn't use. Yeah. I'm not saying don't teach that. I'm just saying I think it would be cool to have a different approach to that. Obviously, this is also difficult, like all the other things, because everybody brews their own soup, and also obviously in different parts. If you take history, then it's taught in a different way, and obviously there's taught more about the area where you are in, which is fine for me. But yeah, I think in all of this stuff, it would be really cool to have more people deciding that, and to come down to some basic things on that everyone can agree, and just do it. And if you really want to do that stuff, you could have done that 1,000 years ago, but nobody really want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Because otherwise, why are we still living in the same society? So it doesn't make sense. It's like there are a lot of things that are really going wrong in the world, but nobody does anything. It's like, okay, we have to keep a diplomatic relationship because they are making 43 billions a year because we got that from them, and if we don't get that from them, then we don't have another country where we can import that from, and there are reasons like that. Yeah. It's like with Germany, like we are sorry that we export the weapons to the countries that have war and everybody doesn't want it, but if we don't do it, we have 50% less money. So take our tax. So there's so many things that just don't make sense. I mean, I would be a bad politician, to be honest. I'm not diplomatic enough with with these things. I like people saying what they mean, and if they don't do, then fuck them, they are not worth anything. I need the next one. I want to talk to another person. This doesn't need anyway. He wastes my time, and I waste his time. This is not worth it. So, but this is what happens a lot. It's like, okay, sorry, we killed this guy probably with a incognito command because he wrote something bad about us. But it wasn't me. I will kill all the people that were involved in that. And here's a deal on my oil, by the way, because I found some oil here. So it's like, yeah, that's a strange word. And this is also the reason why it's so. You have to keep yourself safe. If you only read the news, then it's easy to get down. I remember when I was I don't know 14 or 15, and I the first time read too much about the world and was like, what the fuck? Why are all the people so fucked up? Why is humanity there? Humanity shouldn't be there. That's so horrible. We are doing the same the whole time.
Yeah.
I probably was depressed for a year, and that's, by the way, no joke. Yeah.
Well, you wanna end it here?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like on a happy note.
Yeah, like always. So, by the way, now that you say it, I haven't thought about it, but I want to come back one day. Why we're talking about happy notes to the death topic for a short time. We said that on our first podcast when we ended it. I remember that now because I said I talked something about death, and maybe the next time we can talk about death. And he was like, "Yeah, let's end it on a happy note." Yeah, it's nice. Death is awesome. No, to be more serious, I enjoyed it, and yeah, it was fun. I like to talk about this because all over the week different stuff happens, and I like to talk open. And as I said at the first podcast, and maybe at the second, and maybe I said it 20 times, I think it's really important in this world, especially with all the segregation and people or opinions getting weaponized for one party or the other, to be able to just openly talk about everything without getting at the other's throats or whatever. Just openly talking about all that stuff, even if you are no expert. Yeah, I mean, that's an important thing for me, at least, and I hope for a lot more people, because just some logical thinking could bring us a long way. Maybe it will one day. Maybe it will never. We will see. Maybe we won't. Probably we won't, because we are not living that long. But who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks everybody for watching. Sadly, today, I don't know why, I haven't streamed for a long time. My internet, I missed about 30% of the frames. Yeah. So, long live chaos, in a sense. See you next time. Bye bye.
All right.